Awesome. Awesome.
The boss bought it and fast tracked it next day delivery from Amazon or Best Buy. So it arrived started in the middle of the evening last night, and I had to construct it and put it on. Now it is all set up.
So, how are you doing with the spooky time?
I mean, I think my status is everything.
Mm.
In more concise language, um, I always had some various backup materials, some dry goods. I've got some this and that. I am not out of house and home. My bills aren't not paid yet. Any of that sort of stuff. But already today, I'm feeling the pinch because in order to ensure that I had um a couple of things that you kind of need when you're dealing with with an emergency.
Hmm.
Uh, I got the dog's dog food. You want to get that zero fee on delivery, so you've got to get over a certain amount. So I got some creamer. I don't need it, but I got it because it's a inexpensive ad, and I
Hmm.
got a gallon of milk. Normally, I had been avoiding buying milk because I don't drink it fast enough to get the value out of it, right? But if there's no food coming in,
You're
then
you're
food's
gonna be
gonna be
drinking
going
that
out.
milk.
Yeah, I'm
You're gonna be
drinking
drinking
that
that milk.
milk. It's gonna get used in pancakes, breads, coffee, cereal, whatever. Um, I've got a full thing of hamburger. I've got a a pound of hot dogs. I got stuff, but It'd be really nice if the government figured out what the fuck it's doing this month.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'm sure you are familiar, but the particulars of
Yeah.
my state, okay,
Hmm.
is the money ran out on November 1st. October 31st, a pair of judges, along with several other judges and state legislators in other states,
Hmm.
looked at Trump and said, "Hey, it's down to the wire. Send the money or prepare for legal action." Because, as you may imagine, they're like, "You can't hold our people hostage. They've got to eat." Right?
Yes, but other judges say he can't just willy nilly choose what money he releases. So it's
Right. Even though he's totally done that to do things like continue to pay the army and continue to pay the
yeah.
police. Um, and that was the thing, is that Trump's response was not my hands are tied, I'm waiting for you judges to sort it out, and not, oh, I absolutely want to, and somebody else isn't letting me, right? It was, oh, I could do that. I could do that right now if the price was right.
Yeah.
Meaning the accusation that he's holding the food to ransom is more or less accurate.
I mean, both parties are holding the food to ransom.
They
That's
are.
the
That's the
scary
truly
part.
awful part. And that's why I sent you that link last night, because my outrage boiled over. But
Hmm.
it boils
Hmm.
over because when we're talking about who needs assistance,
Hmm.
and my old man had many problems, but one of the few things he told me that was true is don't call it welfare, call it assistance. Understand that this is your government helping you. You theoretically want to get into a position in life where you can pay that shit back and never have to be on that again, right?
Hmm.
Um I am a person that needs that assistance. And if my mom was alive, she would need that assistance.
Hmm.
What's more, I've mentioned before I might be pre-diabetic. I've never quite gotten the verification on that as of yet, right? My mom was diabetic, right? And
Hmm.
her particular style of diabetes was, I mean, it's all blood sugar dependent, but it's specifically dietary controlled,
Yeah.
right? She needed to eat at regular times. She needed to eat the right stuff at regular times. If she was alive today, they basically would be saying, We don't care about your mother's well-being. She's old. She should die faster.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm not talking about the government. The government being blind and stupid to the suffering of its own people is expected. And that's a horrible fucking statement. I'm saying I'm bothered when other citizens say that your mother doesn't matter. It's too bad that she's dying, but that's not my problem. Right?
Yeah.
That whole Hillary Clinton it takes a village thing was always a false platitude. But I have a real problem, as a for instance, when the Christ bros get on their high horse about Christ is king and all of the, good and proper and civil works of Christ and how we should emulate the apostles, right? And then in the same breath turn around and say, "But fuck those poor people." It's like, wait a minute, didn't didn't your rabbi go forth and clothe the sick and heal the injured and fucking feed the hungry? What the fuck? And we all know it's because of that vaguely Protestant, post puritanical idea that poverty is or inequity or illness is evidence of the original sin, that you're only this way because you're lazy, right? Because in the 1920s all them Okies would have been living high off the hog if they hadn't been lazy, right?
I mean, my grandfather was one of those Okies, and he went to jail
Yeah,
because he and his brothers and his dad went to raid the federal grain silo.
because they're hungry.
Yep, yep, yep.
it, and that's
Ah,
that's the thing is it's not even that they're necessarily mean spirited, although what they say is incredibly cruel, right? It's just they're so insulated from a reality. The big I'm not kidding. Biggest lie I ever heard in college sent me through the fucking roof. Okay? Because I took very good courses in college, but there was at least one class where I left that room several times because I didn't want to lose my shit at my fellow students. And this is pre-COVID. This is pre-economic collapse. This is prime young people don't know shit, right? Because
mhm,
I didn't go to college straight out of high school. I like took 5 years, okay, but I
mhm.
also wasn't a former military or a aircraft soccer mom, on the dole. I was on a Pell Grant, right?
Right, right, right.
Biggest lie I ever heard was students claiming that everybody's middle class, as if it goes extreme poverty where you're living on the street in the back of a building freezing to death, and then middle class, and there's no in between. Working class poor doesn't exist, right? And I've actually had this argument recently because Batman. Hey, we're live. Hi everybody, welcome
Mm,
to the show. We're bitching about the economy. Um, Absolute Batman, which we do have some absolute stuff to talk about tonight, so why not start there? They
I mean,
posit that Bruce Wayne is middle class or blue collar because he's an architect. Do these people not know how much fucking architects make?
well, I mean, no. And also, he's in the same neighborhood as a whole bunch of guys who end up becoming his villains later.
Right, which is also stupid. But I'm talking specifically about architects are part of the professional class,
Hmm.
right? Which means that there's a range. They range from middle class, where they still pay bills and stuff,
Hmm.
right, to upper class, where they pay bills and stuff, but they basically get paid to sit around and draw,
Hmm.
right? And he's a genius designer. He designed a bridge. He didn't just build a bridge.
Hmm.
Designed a bridge, right? I don't. we've had the argument before on the show with Ayrton and Church. I don't believe you couldn't do a blue collar or poor Batman. You absolutely could. I'm not saying it has to be Daredevil. Okay? It's not that. You could do poor Batman. Okay? But it's not this. This is just a variation
Now,
of rich Bruce Wayne. This is what if Bruce Wayne had a day job.
I actually have a good idea that's Halloween appropriate
Okay.
for a poor Batman.
Okay.
So what if, right? It's the Count of Monte Cristo, but it's Batman.
Okay.
I mean, the Count of Monte Cristo, he knows combat arts, he's got a ton of money, he knows science, he's got detective and forgery skills, he's got disguise skills. I mean, he's basically Batman, right?
Right.
So you do a working class Bruce Wayne who gets sent to jail for a crime he didn't commit. He gets a mentor, a wise mentor, the Abbot Pennyworth, as it were,
Right.
and he learns the skills he needs. He escapes, and he then plots his war against the criminals who befouled him, and also then other criminals.
So I like where your head's at, but you've
Mm-hmm.
also made the principal mistake.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's the same mistake Absolute's making. It's the same mistake that all of these what if other but same stories make.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? We'll just take a tiny piece of this.
Mm-hmm.
Your blue collar Bruce Wayne goes to jail, right?
Yes.
What's the jail? It's just a jail, right? Well, no,
I
it's
mean,
it's got to
no.
it's got to be Blackgate, or it's got to be Arkham, and
Yeah.
you've got to have Professor Strange, and you've got to have all these references, and he has to be tortured by characters we know, and it's like, no, that's wrong. That's
No,
doing it
no,
backwards.
no, no. You make it a Count of Monte Cristo like. You
Right,
don't
but
make those other people the references, or if you
right, but
do, they're very small references.
but that's the thing is that if they were going to do this in a conventional way, that's what they would do. They would litter it with references, right? No,
Mm.
you as you say, you do Count on Monte Cristo directly. So okay, fine, it's Blackgate. That's the name of the prison. That's not going to
Yeah.
shake the world, right?
Mm.
But who's the
Or
warden of
even if, or even if you call it Arkham, it's not going to
right?
shake the world.
But who's the warden? Some guy,
Mhm.
right? What's
Because
the process?
the warden wasn't even important in the Count of Monte Cristo.
Right. Well, what's the process? It's the same. It's the same story, right?
Mhm.
From his imprisonment, he builds himself up, and when he gets out of prison, he has now dedicated himself to the quest of revenge. The story is about him developing revenge into justice,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
Right? And it's the response to the Batman. What is the Batman? Who is the Batman? Where is a Batman? That's when the more extreme, fanciful Batman like elements come in, right? That's when you start having supervillains show up as a response to and as a result of Batman. He
Mhm.
didn't make
Mhm.
them. That's always the misnomer. It's like, well, Batman created them. It's like, no. It's just that other people responded to Batman by either adopting a persona or seeking people of a persona.
I mean, uh, the Batman the Animated Series actually did an excellent episode to deal with that.
Right. Because let's
But
let's
yeah.
let's let's go all out on this. Okay, we're gonna do a Batman. We're gonna do Batman counter Monte Cristo, and we're gonna make it period. So it's literally the Bat of Monte Cristo.
Mhm. Mhm. Mhm.
Okay.
Mhm.
All right. Well, that's a good story, but we could do a couple of other layers of interesting to this because time period, right?
Right.
So how do we flavor this? It's like, well, we'll mix it in a bit with the Three Musketeers, right? Because there have been other historical pastiche that have crib noted together several different fictional universes set in the same period. The Man in the Iron Mask and the Musketeers, for instance, right? And so, like, who is the Joker? What is the Joker? Where does the Joker come from? The Joker is basically Rochefort.
Yeah.
He's somebody's assassin and right-hand man. Why do they keep him under wraps so hard? Because when he's let loose to do what he wants to do, he's a he's a psychotic murderer who does not care about collateral damage. Right?
Mhm.
And it's like, so what's his problem with Batman? Well, his problem with Batman is one, Batman won, right? He was defeated by the Bat, and two, the Bat doesn't laugh. The Bat is an intractable foe, which makes him the perfect foe. Right? So of
Mhm.
course the Joker's going to come over and over again to menace the people because he's got to take down the Bat. Right? The story writes itself, but they always want to overthink it. So now, Absolute Bat was captured by Bane after being beat to shit because we're basically doing Nightfall with the serial numbers file off. And then he was experimented on and tortured in Arkham. And now we're going to reveal it because Batman got on TV and said, I'm going to kick your ass because, we're edgy and 12. Right? But then we
Mhm.
had to do an annual where Batbrick beats the shit out of the white supremacists. And the problem is that shouldn't actually be a a daring or complicated thing to argue. Like, I vicariously would enjoy watching Batman beat the shit out of some, racist fuckholes who deserve to have the shit kicked out of them. But somehow we had to fuck it up. We just
Um,
had to find a way.
I mean, we've gone to the well a little too often.
Right.
That's a big part of it. And also, we've run into a situation where, look, the art for that book, it's very
Is
stylized,
terrible.
right? Well, no, it's stylized.
It,
It's
it was
kind of like,
stylized, but I find it reminiscent of art from the Robbie Reyes Ghost Rider, which was also just like scribble face all over the place. It's stylized, bordering on impressionistic, bordering on primitivism, but it's not good,
well, I
in my
mean,
opinion.
where I was going is it's stylized and it looks kind of sort of reminiscent of things like Super Jail and that whole sort of art genre.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of metal uses that sort of aesthetic, but I don't buy it for this. I don't think it sells this story well.
Yeah.
So, what do you think is the art style? Because I mean, Dark Knight's metal went with a much more aggressive style that was different.
I personally believe this could sound so weird. The art is an afterthought. The writing is not a primary thought either, but the art is an afterthought. I think the primary drive of Batman Absolute, and indeed Superman Absolute, or whatever the fuck it's called, and Wonder Woman Absolute, because we're very clearly a Russian vodka now, um, is literally style over substance, shock, and not even this comic will change everything, shock, just visual diarrhea. Right? What's gonna happen
Mhm.
next? Batman's gonna fight a dude. What's it gonna look like? He's gonna rip a dude's eyes out with his bat ears. Why? Because it's cool, but it's not cool.
Mhm.
Well, then you're a bigot, racist, homophobe who hates Batman, and you don't understand how deep and political we are because fuck ICE. It's verbal and visual diarrhea.
Well,
We will say what
hold up.
we'll say whatever we have to say to get your ass in a seat, and then we don't care about the after effects.
Well, hold up, Rune. Let's go into the diary.
let's let's touch it. Okay.
1 second. We're gonna go over here yonder. This is a piece of art by the same comics artist. It's for Star Wars. So do you think this is remotely appropriate for Star Wars?
No. Here's the
This.
thing. Here's the thing. You pulled it up, all right?
Mhm.
And I wasn't looking. And I look over, and I had to stop and really stare at it.
Mhm.
Because what I saw before I realized that was an X-Wing, okay, was a really long metal pole with a dude's giant screaming face on the end of it.
Yeah.
All right.
It's
And now that I know what the fuck it is, I still don't know what the fuck it is.
yeah. Let me go back over here to his
Now
website.
I'm gonna speak in a way that's gonna be unfair to the much better comics that I'm comparing it to. It looks like something out of heavy metal,
Yes,
where
but not as good.
we're being extremely experimental and having human faces that are like ape-like or monstrous to represent different kinds of people, and being very loose and with form is expected.
Yeah, but here's one of Darth Vader again in Star Wars, and again, his art style is inappropriate for Star Wars.
Well, I mean, I'm going to cut him some credit. I'm going to say that bit with the TIE fighter and Darth Vader standing in the
Mhm.
shadow of it. That's pretty sweet. I'm pretty down
Yeah,
with that.
yeah. Here's one he did from a actual indie comic that he was doing. Now, for this indie comic, which is like a slice of life sort of thing, the art style works.
Yeah.
Well, let's see here. What else do we got? And pull this one up here. Again, for this style of comic, the style works.
Yeah.
So that's my big issue on the art for Absolute Batman is it has a very wrong style. You need something that, quite frankly, with the tone of the broader story, it needs to be more of a noir sort of art. Wouldn't you say?
I mean, I would lean in that direction because
Because
my
the Bruce in Absolute Batman is more of a noir protagonist than he is like a standard Batman protagonist.
so there's a hinterland. It's a really narrow space to hit. I've tried to explain this before, but now I have better language. At the time I was originally describing this, I didn't. And I'm going
Mm,
to use, of all things, Disney as my guideline.
mm,
Okay? And people who are watching this, if anybody's watching this, if anyone watches this in the future, hi, I am the enemy. You may despise me at your whim. I don't like Disney films from the golden age of Disney.
all right.
I mean, admittedly, Aladdin has grown on me, but I don't like Beauty and the Beast. I don't like Lion King. I don't like a lot of the films at that era. Why?
Mm,
Because that was the start of their transition to 2D CGI, right? Before they dumped 2D entirely. And they were too clean, right? Having grown up with traditional animation form, the imperfections that the filming process had created a certain verisimilitude that made it feel more real, right? This is why
mhm,
Batman the Animated Series was so amazing, because a lot of people don't know that before the transition in the Superman Adventures and the Batman Superman Adventures, which were the template for Justice League, the Batman Animated Series was one of the last series done in traditional cell shading, right?
mhm.
Done on black paper, which was seen as, some, like, innovative, right? The Dark Deco style. What's the secret? They
Yeah.
painted it onto black paper, right?
Mhm,
Um, if you compare different eras of Disney, even really crappy Disney animated films,
mhm.
right? Or Don Bluth films, uh, the traditional cell shading had weight. It had artistic gravitas. It was believably, meaningfully something. And then you added on
Yeah.
good music, good characterization, art, right?
Mhm.
Little Mermaid, Beauty and the Beast, Lion King are
All
very
that.
sterile, right? They're reasonably by the numbers.
Mhm.
There are elements of characterization that we would now look at as commonplace in animation and go, that's sloppy and lazy. Like, if you need somebody to be uh likable, you give them giant expressive eyes,
Mhm.
right? And we go, yeah, that's great. You're trying to pull my heartstrings. It doesn't work. My heart is cold and dead. You killed it. Good job.
Now,
Um,
well,
my
we've
the
I
the
would go
what the relevance
ahead.
I'm getting at is
Mhm.
Batman needs a clean style, but it doesn't need the clean style I have seen in some CGI assisted uh bat media or super media or comic media in general, where
Well,
it's
let
so
me.
clean that it loses reality. It needs that balance
Mhm.
right in between. It can't be too stylized and it can't be too medicinal. Now,
So
this is
something
good.
like this,
This is good.
mhm,
Yeah,
or this by the same artist,
sure.
or this from the artist's actual page.
Yeah, this guy could bat.
Yeah, but here's a funny thing, Joe.
Yeah.
This guy has batted before.
No shit.
He has, and I'm gonna bring up.
Am I going to be shocked by who he is?
You're not gonna be shocked, but you're gonna see how he was a relevant segue to the discussion of Absolute Batman.
Segway.
You remember how Razor Fist started making a negative comment about 90s
Right.
comics? This
Right.
was art by Travis
Yeah.
Charest. So
Oh
here
well,
was his
he's did a
first
follow
major.
up. He did a follow up with a truly awful image of Sue Storm as well. So
Yes,
he's digging deeper.
but that's a different artist. But here's
Yeah.
this guy's first ever Batman work.
Eh.
He was told to emulate the Lee Field style, and it's not great, but it's fine.
I mean, he was doing what he was told. That's off the top.
Then
But
a couple years later, this is a style he developed for a Wolverine miniseries.
right, it's okay.
But this style is something that would make Absolute Batman absolutely interesting visually.
Sure.
Of course, DC Comics doesn't want to pay this guy that kind of money.
Right.
Um, and Razor's taken some heat from the usual suspects for going after not just a talented artist, but a talented artist for a bad cover he did. Said he was doing under direction from his corporate overlords, and then
Well,
later he got better.
what's the thing? I haven't commented on it. And why haven't I commented on it? Besides, people don't give a shit what I have to say. It's because matter of fact is I don't know about Razor, but I'm the age group for '90s comics. I
Mm-hmm.
loved '90s comics art, especially, frankly, the worst, like Liefeld inspired '80s X-Men, early '90s comic art. I love that
Mm-hmm.
shit. Right? Then you say to me, but Joe, is it good? At the time, I thought it was boss. Compared to the half-ass shit DC was putting out, oh, it was awesome. Right? If you ask me, but is it good now? It's like, no, it's dated now. It looks like ass now.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I'm perfectly willing to say that it has not stood up to the test of time, right? But that doesn't mean across the board and over time that it wasn't at one point good.
Mm-hmm.
I have a friend who recently acquired for themselves the remake of Dragon Quest 3,
Mm-hmm.
and they've been playing it, making me watch it. I don't mind. Um, and it has some doodads and some bells and whistles, and it's like, Joe, you like Dragon Quest? It's like, yeah, I love Dragon Quest, right? And I remarked that it's basically a ripoff of D&D, and they were like,
Mm-hmm.
that's not fair. And I'm like, it really is. And they're like, what do you mean? It's like, Okay, so the Toriyama art came later,
Mhm.
right? And if you go all the way back to the NES when it was Dragon Warrior,
Mhm.
right? What are your stats? HP and magic points. That's it,
Mhm.
right? There might be some bells and whistles for various calculations, but the fact of the matter is that it's just chainmail. It's just melee. It is bog standard, basic bitch early D&D, and always was. And you might not like it, but that doesn't mean it's not true.
Yeah. Let me just continue to circle this process again,
Yeah,
because it's not just Absolute Batman that has inappropriate art,
right.
and some of the inappropriate art that's in the Absolute ethos is it's inappropriate for a different sort of reason. So we're
I
gonna
mean,
go.
are we going to talk about the fishbowl?
No, we're not at the fishbowl. So this is from Absolute Wonder Woman.
Yes, and it is retarded.
This is Diana's little baby with a
Yep,
salamander in hell.
because we want to make her girl Hercules, but better.
Well, here's the thing, for me at least. This Cupid baby sort of art, it doesn't really work with what they're trying to do here. They're
Well,
trying to contrast that this child is being warped and changed by the extremity.
do you know why I say they want to make her girl Hercules?
No.
So mythologically, one of the very first events in Hercules' life is he is a baby.
Mhm.
And because of the threat that he poses, a serpent is loosed in his crib,
Two
which he
serpents. Hera
right,
here sends the serpents to murder him.
which he crushes with his bare hands. He's already superhumanly strong,
Mhm.
right? Well, here's Diana sitting in hell. There's a little salamander. Little salamander comes up, breathes fire in her face. She grabs the little salamander. Now remember, this is a world created by Darkseid. This is the absolute Wonder Woman,
Mhm.
right? She should, logically, break that lizard's spine, which I don't endorse. I still think this is dumb, but that is what
Mhm.
would happen in a dark universe, right? But no, she's Wonder Woman. We have to show her fundamental goodness. So after she has grabbed the lizard and just held it, she gives him a little kiss because he doesn't mean it. He's just a cute little wizard. And she's a good person in hell. Hmm. Are you overcome, Larry? Are you struck by the depth of this writing? Because I'm fucking not.
I mean, the art also really isn't compelling to me.
It
And
doesn't sell what they're
no,
doing. No.
it's not good. It's not good art, and it shows a lack of strong editorial direction from the top.
It's surprising no one yet again.
And this is without me getting into the bisexual Brazilian communist Superman.
Okay, you just said a bunch of words,
Mhm.
and I want to make sure I didn't have a stroke. Absolute Superman is bisexual, biracial, and Brazilian?
Well, he's a socialist, and he's Brazilian because he identifies from Brazil because that's where his ship landed.
Okay. So, Red Sun Banana Republic Edition. Got it.
Well, no, no. You see, he was a Marxist because he's part of the struggle from back on Krypton. Because this Superman comes to Earth as a grown-up.
See, again, doing things backwards. Part of the reason that that whole what if same but different but same idea doesn't work is because when it does work and then you try to copy someone else's homework, it just shows.
Mhm.
Okay, did you watch one of Bruce Timm's last DC outings, Gods and Monsters?
I didn't care
Did
for it.
You didn't care for it, but you watched it, so you know what I'm referring to.
Hmm.
They have the big reveal that this isn't Kal-El, it's Zod's kid. Oh no, right? And Zod's kid didn't land in Kansas. Zod's kid landed in Mexico,
Right.
right? And was raised by poor peasants who had to cross the border, right? And
Hmm.
so our Calzad, our calzone, if you will, is filled with this desire that we must help the real people, the common people, right? The thing is that as you watch the film, which dovetails all of these characters and lampoons them and presents them in dark, interesting, otherworldly ways, they all still kind of end up in the same place, but perhaps a little wiser and a little more worldly from their experiences, right? Because their Zod realizes that he cannot be the hero that he aspires to be for, quote, the people if he is above and apart from them. He needs to
Hmm.
be a better man. Imagine that, right? How first of all, how is that not Red Sun? Which I was in a conversation with someone talking about Red Sun recently because we're talking about the nature of how the Red Sun Kal-El doesn't actually conform to any communist ideology because from a certain perspective he is actually the intended end state of utopian communism, right? And
Yes.
the problem is that he's at the end state, but Stalin is not a great leader. He is a dictatorial communist. He is the stumbling idiotic mid state at best, right?
Hmm.
Which is why Kal-El's tearing around leads to commie Batman
Hmm.
because Superman's not good for the people at that point. He's an
Hmm.
unrealistic ideal. But more importantly, how is this not just uh Gods and Monsters done badly? It's
Well,
the same thing.
hold up. First of all, first things first. Red Sun did come out first, I believe.
Red Sun did come out first, and Red Sun was actually pretty good. But Red Sun is also an artifact of the Cold War.
But the thing about Red Sun is that the Cold War artifact is what makes it interesting.
Right,
Similar to Gotham by Gaslight.
right.
That makes it interesting.
But
So,
here's the thing. Here's the thing.
mm,
Red Sun, made in the shadow of the Cold War after as it's collapsing, is a story about the Cold War. And we look at it and go, huh, what an interesting historical footnote.
mm,
What what is this? You can't do Red Sun today. I was like, well, why not? It's like, because communism doesn't mean the same thing today. It's why Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull doesn't work.
well, the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull didn't work because they didn't want to make the communists the villains.
Right, but there's a problem here, Larry. It's a really weird problem. Is your body ready for this problem?
Yes.
C- Commies aren't evil.
I
Now,
mean,
now,
we're gonna
whoa,
we're
whoa,
gonna
whoa,
we're gonna
whoa, whoa,
disagree.
whoa,
We're
whoa!
gonna
No, 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 no,
disagree
no, no,
there.
no. Wait, we're gonna pull back for just a minute. Communism, the political theory derived from Marxism, very bad. Communist governments and the people running them, the oligarchs that are, repine and pillaging their own nations and nearby nations and starting wars, bad.
Mhm,
Okay? But whereas you could posit that the Nazis were evil, okay,
mhm,
and all you had to do was gesture at the SS, and everybody understands, oh man, the Nazis, right?
mhm.
And you could still have a story about how, well, the German army, the individual dude at the ground might not be so bad, but these are Nazis stealing the Ark of the Covenant. We've got to stop them, right? Uh, the rank and file everybody, I am a soldier in Lithuania, right? It's like, are you a commie? Yes. Do you want to be a commie? Not really. Why are you working for the army? It's a job, and if I don't, they'll shoot me. Right?
Mhm.
Okay. We have the political knowledge now to look at the guys from the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull and go, are these the bad guys? Yes. Well, what's their badness? They're commies.
Well, hold up,
And
hold up. The reason they couldn't make them the bad guys is because it wouldn't sell well in Russia and China.
it doesn't sell well in America. Did you see how well the Kingdom Skull did?
Well, right, right. The studio felt like the Americans would watch it if they watered it down until it was basically nothing. Good
which
times.
they did.
Hmm?
What
Hmm.
what I'm getting at? What I'm getting at? It's funny because it's stupid because the motivations were the same. MCU did it right. Okay, the MCU
Hmm.
didn't say Nazis are good guys, right?
Hmm.
But when they were establishing Hydra in Captain America, they not only said, "Oh, this is the fifth column. This is the invasive hidden portion of the Nazi Party that you didn't see," right? They also said, "The Red Skull has his own interests at heart. He's actually a villain that even the other Nazis don't like," right? If they had said in Kingdom of the Crystal Skull that this woman with her obsession with aliens and psychic whatnot had basically grabbed up a bunch of commie absolutists who believe in her cause and had gone off record, and they were scourging the globe looking for artifacts and shit, and the Kremlin didn't like it. I mean, your story works.
Right, but the Russians and Chinese wouldn't want that.
You want to know how little I give a shit
Right,
about
but
China's opinion?
you're not running a studio room.
I understand I'm not running a studio, but I want to make clear how much China fucks up American movies. All right,
Mm-hmm.
you say, all right, we've got Brendan Fraser, we're gonna make a third Mummy movie, and everyone goes, yeah. And you say we can't get the original actors for Evie, but we've got someone who can at least do the job. And they go, all right. And they say we're gonna go to China, we're gonna do a Chinese mummies, cool. And somebody says we have Jet motherfucking Lee, and everyone's like, oh, this is gonna be great. And it's like, so who's the bad guy? Monarchists. What? We're gonna go into communist China, and we're gonna fight
Well,
monarchists who want a monarchy
well,
restoration by raising Emperor Shin. Okay, but are we gonna present him as a bad guy? No. What? He's not really a bad guy. He's complicated. This is the same Shin
yeah,
who sentenced thousands to death, right? Yes.
yeah.
It's like, and he's played by Jet Li. Yep. So who the bad guy? Not the commies. What do you mean, not the commies? It doesn't matter who the bad guy is. You can never say the commies are the bad guy. Motherfucker, the story writes itself. We're going to communist China to fight a mummy because the commies raised the mummy to conquer the world. Done!
Yeah, but then you can't get money from the Chinese to finance your movie, and you
The
can't tell the
Chinese
movie.
aren't giving you the money to begin with.
Well, they were back then.
Yeah, but again, fullness of time, and we have the benefit of hindsight. This kind of thinking led to Shang-Chi. We made a movie for China with the wrong Chinese guy telling the wrong
Actually,
Chinese story, and nobody liked it.
actually, actually, hold up. For Shang-Chi, I do have some rudimentary sources.
Excellent.
They actually made Shang-Chi thumb their nose at China.
And nobody wanted to see it.
Hmm? Hmm? Hmm?
And do you know why nobody wanted to see it? Not just because Shang-Chi is not a well-known character, but do you know why nobody wanted to see it?
Why?
The abject void of charisma at any stage of that fucking story.
Well, there's several problems with that story. First one is Simu Liu. He's a fine actor, but he's not the right actor for that role.
He is not the right actor for that role.
The second and most important problem is they wanted to put that movie in China, but there were several political problems. So, do you know what one of the political problems is? It's Bruce Lee. You know why Bruce Lee is a political problem.
Because when Bruce Lee was alive, he flipped a giant middle finger to China and went to America.
So Bruce Lee's considered a national hero in China because he did
Right.
many big, wonderful things.
Right.
But he also attacks traditional Chinese martial arts, which
Right.
the communists, who also attacked traditional Chinese martial arts at the same time, now can't politically tolerate.
Right.
So,
This is why Jet Li, even though he's an excellent martial artist, is kind of a puss. Because he has never done a movie that pissed off the Chinese government.
mm, mm. so in this context, you have Simu Liu, who actually is trained in Jeet Kune Do, doing more traditional kung fu. When he's playing a character, it's basically Bruce Lee with the serial numbers filed off.
There's more to it than that. And this is the thing that I was trying to get at.
Well, that's why I said he's basically Bruce Lee with the serial numbers filed off.
Right, but I want to be very specific here. When I say that there's a gaping chasm of charisma in Shang-Chi, okay?
Mhm.
First and foremost, they had, was it Donnie Yen or Jet Li as the Mandarin?
No, they actually had a Chinese actor as the Mandarin.
Okay, but they had a capable actor I know, but I can't remember his name as the Mandarin.
Give me a second. The actor is Tony Long Chua.
Ah, um, the thing is they had capable actors, but they never. And this is an MCU wide problem, but I think it's crystallized here. They never go all in on what that comic is supposed to be and what those
Mhm.
characters are,
Well,
right?
there's a lot of problems. So they decided to
Well,
replace
because I
the
want to I
man.
want to I want to point out that Shang-Chi isn't just Bruce Lee.
Mhm.
Shang-Chi is specifically Bruce Lee from Fist of Fury, or
Yes.
if you prefer, if you are a refined gentleman of culture, the last half of the Kentucky Fried Movie,
Mhm.
right? Because there he is being very restrained and wise, and you say, well, I need you to go to an island controlled by a madman who's threatening the world, and I need you to defeat him. And it's like, well, why would I do that? It's like, because you might get to kill 60 or 70 men. It's like, oh, okay, right?
Also, ironically enough, the guy who played the Mandarin,
Yeah,
his one of his first acting roles was in a Bruce Lee movie,
right. But
Game of Death. He had a bit part in that movie.
nice. I love Game of Death. But what I'm getting at though is uh so if you're gonna be a Bruce Lee, right, and you're playing a Marvel character from the 70s, right? You don't just go all in on being Bruce Lee. You've gotta have fun. You've gotta be
Mhm.
happy to be here, right?
You have to kind of try to emulate Bruce's personality.
Right. Lou might be a serviceable actor, but he basically is like, I am on the set. I am in the scene. I am
Mm.
standing here, and I wave my hands this way and that way
Yeah.
when the bad guys attack me, and then I am done. And it's like, okay, cool. Could we replace you with a robot? Because clearly you're not fucking here,
Mhm. Mhm.
right? And this is
Also,
important. This is especially important because of the contrasting characterization, right? So you do the Mandarin, and I say you do the actual Mandarin, okay? You do the Yellow Peril. He's green. He has rings. Fuck this bracelets bullshit, right?
mhm.
Right? The Mandarin is a no fun allowed character. Okay? He is a straight up I am going to kill you kind of person, right? Shang-Chi is like one step removed from a character from Big Trouble in Little China.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
You, believe it or not, because Marveldom, this is your opportunity to have a smart alecky superhero who makes fun of the villain to his face. And you
Well,
fucked it.
I mean, two of their most successful movies features a superhero who makes fun of the villain to their face on a regular basis.
Right.
I mean, Spider-Man and Deadpool. I mean, God, wouldn't it be terrible if they made something else like Spider-Man and Deadpool?
I know, right? Oddly enough, another drudge up because we have gotten so in the weeds we don't even care now. This was the problem with Iron Fist.
Hmm?
Let's
Well,
do Iron Fist, but let's not commit to being Iron Fist in any
well,
meaningful
we have
way.
we have to be grounded because all the other Defender shows are grounded.
Quite again, these people never heard of contrast. It's like, okay, all right, we got Daredevil, gonna be grounded. We got what's her name, gonna be grounded. We got Luke Cage, gonna be grounded and black. What do we do with Iron Fist? Let's do Iron Fist as fun. Why? It's like because he's the fun one. And what is this going to do
Hmm?
when we do Defenders? It's like he's going to be the one that's having fun, which is going to bring everybody else up, and he's going to bring a needed level of levity to these very serious matters.
Yeah.
Right? And it's like, okay, but what does that fun look like? Well, it's going to be there's Luke Cage punching guys, and there's ninjas all over the place, and there's Iron Fist having a ball. And it's like, what are you smiling about? It's like, I love punching ninjas. I don't know what you're on about.
But I do want to. We have a lot of comics focused stuff today.
We do, and actually, I want to throw out a tiny thing, because I actually
Hmm?
brought material today. Holy shit!
Hmm?
I'm not just distracting everybody. I read a book. I read a book that I did not know existed that no one had brought up. Do you know that there's a new run of the Phantom?
Uh, yes, I think it's by the same people who did the new Buck Rogers, if I remember correctly.
Might be, might be. Damn it. Give me a second. I'm trying to pull it up here. I want to say it's by a group called Mad Cave.
Yep, same people.
Okay, yeah. It's only 2 issues long so far, and on a whim, I read it, and at first I wasn't sure. I really wasn't sure because it's a hard sell for me when you start your story with the Phantom playing with children.
Well, I mean, the Phantom has children. That's one of the things he does all the time.
Well, yeah, but this was him basically playing with little black children in Bengala, and I was like, but you're the ghost who walks. We're not supposed to know that you're there, right? You're supposed to
Yeah,
be
I
in
mean,
you're supposed to be in the skull cave, being ominous,
I
right?
mean, they're cute kids.
They're cute kids. So here's the thing. It's in Bengala. It's in a hidden part of Bengala, like a little village lost to the world. And a bunch of Singh Brotherhood raiders show up.
Hmm?
Bunch of paramilitary dukes with guns, right? And they don't know the Phantom is there. They don't know the ghost who walks was present when they raided, right? But now their leader, who claims to be a Sang, an actual descendant, says that a plane crashed here. You took my drugs. I want my drugs back, and I'm going to help myself to whatever valuables you've got. And it is upon your leader to give me what I want in the shortest amount of time possible, or you just die,
Hmm?
right? And so basically, the Phantom's right hand man, who is the new leader, because his father is an aging chieftain on death's doorstep, has to now sit in a room with this very awful, very ruthless person and negotiate, right? And this thing is trying to like convince him, like, hey, come on, join our cartel. This could be very profitable for you, or we'll kill you, right? Uh, and all of this is actually parsed as meaningful action which I didn't expect, because the young chieftain is playing for time because he knows the Phantom is there, because the Phantom was visiting the village, and so he's keeping the Singh Brotherhood spinning, right? While the Phantom is basically sneaking around, he's doing things like taking out guards, and he's like setting up explosives, and doing a phantoming. And I was like,
Mhm.
this is good. This is amazing. Why did I not know that this happened? So if any of the people are watching this in the future and you are looking for a book to read, like, go the classics. Find the Phantom.
Mhm.
It's good.
Yeah, yeah. And I read a comic book this week. We have another update to Conan. It's
Also,
the
running strong.
But this is from the sub Conan where we're having a crossover with King Kull,
Mm,
Conan, and his occult detective character, whose name is escaping me right now. And the problem
mm,
is the pacing is interminable
mm.
because it's a story that's resolving simultaneously across three different points in time. But I'm waiting until we get to a arc where Conan's back doing more standard Conan adventures. But I came up with an I
Actually, actually, a quick question for you. I'm not spinning back to the Phantom, but I'm going to mention him. Stupid question, but serious question. Uh, Solomon Kane. Whenever they do
yes.
a Solomon Kane crossover, they're always crossovering Solomon Kane with Conan, which has always struck me as kind of silly.
hmm
Why don't they do a Solomon Kane and the Phantom?
I mean that'd be pretty cool.
Like, one of the first Phantoms was not only a privateer who fought pirates, but like his oath against piracy is sort of key. So there were swashbuckling, sword swinging Phantoms, right? And Solomon Kane is dedicated to the destruction of all evil.
Yeah,
Those two guys together would be great. It's
yeah.
never been done, to the best of my knowledge.
So I came up with a deep dive topic.
Okay. Okay.
Uh, so I saw a YouTube video about this, and it got me thinking. There have been a lot of things that are derivative of the original battle royale from Japan. The most famous ones that are out, you got the Hunger Games, you got Squid Games, you got Fortnite to a lesser extent. So, what is the best of the battle royale derivatives? Also, Did you read the original battle royale slash see the movie?
I did not watch the original Battle Royale, but
Really?
I am of the opinion that these films, these stories of late, have always been extremely derivative.
Right. But you're not familiar with the original.
I mean, I am. I've picked up the bits after people realized this is just Battle Royale. Let me do a YouTube, dissertation on it. Uh, the thing is, I just never cared enough to watch it. Given
So,
the choice between, you know, um, uh, the raid and Battle Royale, I'll watch the raid.
mm, mm. Well, interestingly, Battle Royale was actually inspired by the Stephen King book, The Long Walk, which we recently reviewed the movie version of, which wasn't that good. But
Yeah,
Battle Royale actually did something interesting with the concept as opposed to The Long Walk. So, Battle Royale as a concept takes Lord of the Flies, which was a terrible book, and it's a shame that it's become so popular, and sort of does something interesting with the concept. A fascist Japanese government takes a bunch of children to an island, gives them weapons and supplies and food, and says, kill each other until three of you are left, then you three kill each other, and the one who leaves survives wins money.
yeah,
And if you try to leave, you get your head blown off because you got an explosive collar in your neck. Try to break the rules, explosive collar on your neck.
I mean, this all seems extremely wasteful. Why not just kill them? You clearly just want them all to die.
Because it's to entertain the masses. Spread in circuses.
Well, you see, there's a entirely different Stephen King work under the Bachman books that did this thing. It did it a lot better.
The Running
Maybe,
Man.
maybe you've heard of it. Yeah, it's called The Running Man.
Now, I have not read The Running Man. I only saw the Arnold movie, which I've been told is actually better than the Bachman thing, minus the fact the Bachman book did take out the World Trade Center.
Sliding scale. So, the Bachman book, which I read after having seen the Arnold film many years later, and now I actually own a copy. I bought it. The Bachman book is closer to The Fugitive than The Running Man. Okay?
Right.
Instead of we're gonna go send you into a super burned out arena area where we send murderers to kill you, like postmodern gladiators, the idea is basically you sign away your life, you go on the run. I'm not going to spoil all of it because there's a film coming out and I want people to be surprised. But basically, you flee in civilization, right? And the only requirements are you have to, because of time period, we didn't have digital uploads and shit yet. You have to leave video evidence. You have to record yourself going about your excursions and leave it in various cities and locations as you go. And the main character figures out very quickly they're tracking him this way, right? But the people that are after you, though they are hunters and capturers, are basically the equivalent of U.S. Marshals. They're just specialists in hunting these people down. They're bounty hunters. They're getting paid for it, right? But they're hunting you down just like anybody else would hunt you down anything, and you can go anywhere in the world, right? If you can make it, right? And there's a lot of interesting things in the story. There's a lot of stuff going on, but it is very much a stronger narrative about a near future. A future where we have more nuclear power, but we skimp on safety. So many laborers end up sterile due to radiation exposure, right? Where there's not enough food, not enough water, not enough money, where we have a depressed economy, and the only distraction is basically a postmodern version of bread and circuses, right? People literally selling their bodies to the television station just to potentially get enough money for their families, if not for themselves, right? Because there are other examples of other shows. Like there's one where people who have heart conditions or bad lungs are put on a treadmill and have to answer questions, and the questions get harder the longer they run, but the more they run, the more money they make. Because it's all about being on the bleeding edge of whether or not you are gonna die on that fucking treadmill in front of an audience. So have you seen that stupid episode of Black Mirror with the guy talking to the internet and everybody's trying to be a star? It's basically that, right? It's a really good book. It's worth checking out. But yeah, for fun, oh no, the Arnold film is a million times better. It's so much more great. Because it tells a different story. It's a
About a
different
similar world.
thing. Similar world, different story. And if anybody here knows Feral Historian, he actually did a video on the Running Man that's really
Recently.
interesting. Yeah.
But also, as we were having this conversation, I was thinking about it. You know what else fits this genre of movie?
Yeah.
Death Race. Not
Yes.
the bad Jason Statham one.
No, the good one with
David Carradine and
David
Stallone.
Carradine. Yeah, no, Death Race was absolutely an influence or inspired by Running Man.
And it also referenced the game that people had for years been making jokes about while driving cars.
I mean, like how many points a grandma is?
Yeah,
I mean, I still have those conversations on occasion.
yeah. So it also had a topical reference point. But the interesting thing about all of these is they all require an authoritarian dictatorial government. But like in theory, you could have death games in a democratic society, right? If it's, a libertarian enough, free enough society, you could have these games.
So this is an important thing that, again, people wildly misunderstand, especially now, and I don't know why. It drives me nuts. I've described this before, like you and I have had conversations. There's a difference between ethical and moral, right?
Mm-hmm.
And by extension, there's a difference between the political and the personal, right? Your
Mm-hmm.
society doesn't need to be totalitarian or authoritarian to have facets of it that are utterly vile, right? Death games of whatever format are absolutely morally and often ethically reprehensible, right? But any government can exploit them. They're a useful tool because there are in fact two other things that dovetail with this. The first is something you and I were talking about recently. Uh, uh, Legend of the Legendary Galactic Heroes, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which has evil Holy Roman Empire on one side and evil, you know, not quite capitalist, but at least non-imperialist on the other side, and both are equally shit. Being exploited by the evil Venetians, who control the one and only interstellar jump point that connects the two empires.
Mm-hmm.
Right? But the other thing, also in this implicit genre of Running Man inspired media or Running Man influencing media, rollerball.
Yeah.
Rollerball is not a authoritarian or dictatorial society. It is a society that has been subverted by its uh, executive and patrician class, right? And the people feel very free and they have lots of rights and freedoms, but it hinges on the bread and circuses. And the main character's primary sin is he refuses to die or retire because he wants to win. He somehow does it for the love of the game, and they cannot afford a hero. A hero and a martyr could be dangerous to the system. We need to get rid of this guy. um, and if you want to go really deep, there are stories about this because there's a movie that was made recently that is a remake of a Twilight Zone episode.
Mm-hmm.
Did you see Real Steel with Hugh Jackman?
Mm-hmm.
Same thing, although less about an authoritarian government. The idea of the individual becoming secondary or irrelevant to the society and the infrastructure, right? In the face of automation. And so he has to find new and different ways to do the things that they want to do, to be the people they want to be. You never had to be an authoritarian pseudo-Nazi state to make that shit happen. You don't have to do Man in the High Tower. But people seem to think you do. Made more funny, of course, by the idea that like people fail to understand that Man in the High Tower was made what 50 years ago now.
Yeah, about that.
Like I don't. I don't think you should look at Dune and expect Dune to live up to the level of sci-fi we expect in society. I don't know why we look at Man in the High Tower as a piece of speculative alt history fiction and expect it to be brilliant. It stuff's allowed to be dumb
I
when you made
mean,
it, you know.
Man in the High Tower didn't have a whole lot of legs.
It didn't. It's not even necessarily one of Philip K. Dick's best works, but it's a work he did. It made money. It
Hmm.
got published. What's wrong with that?
Yeah, exactly. So I'd like to segue out of this. This was not a bad bit.
This was a wild bit. We wandered. We
Well,
wandered
no,
yonder.
no. I had planned for this bit,
Okay, yeah.
so it wasn't a,
But I don't
wasn't
think
a
I'm
wander.
just saying I don't think we actually answered the question of what is best battle royale derivative. I think we more
You
said
see,
how multifaceted the genre actually is, and maybe
yeah,
battle royale is not the one we should use as the bar.
yeah, but it's also you really need to have seen it to really make this a good
Well,
qualitative
well,
thing. And I thought you would have
well.
seen
With
it
this in
or at
mind, I
least
think.
read the manga.
Look. I think with this in mind, I think we can jump to the quick and say that the actual best is just the Arnold Schwarzenegger Running Man.
I mean, that is a very strong one, very strong argument. But what did?
Here's the thing. Here's the thing. Very, very briefly, because I know you want to move on. We just listed a whole bunch of things. Some of them we've seen, some of them we haven't.
Hmm?
Right. But from our sample size of 2 people, although I'm sure if we got Church and Ayrton in here, they would dovetail with us. The one movie that all 4 of us have seen and all 4 of us have loved is the Arnold Schwarzenegger Running Man.
Well, yeah, it's a great movie from the peak of Arnold's career.
Right. Ergo, for whatever reasons, I think the argument can be made. It's the best and has the greatest staying power because other things, even works that are newer but are derivative, do not. Because
And
I do not foresee in 10 years anyone's going to be talking about Hunger Games at all.
also I'd say about the Arnold Schwarzenegger Running Man, it has the best cameo by Arnold's brother in it.
Is that the guy that has to go score some steroids?
No, he's the guy who's Killian's. Actually, no, that was the line Killian said about it. He
Yeah,
was the guy who's Killian's security guard. Who, when Killian is at the edge,
yeah,
goes, "It's my coffee break, man. Sorry."
yeah. Well, okay, so set up payoff in movies. Stupidest example, best example. Really early in the film, the security guard is standing there just minding his own business, and Killian gets short with him and says, "What are you doing? You got to go score some steroids?" And the security guy just takes it, right?
Hmm.
Because it's a job. He's been bitched at before. He has no strong opinion or vested interest in any of this. And then you jump to the end, and there's the security guy, and there's Killian, and Killian thinks the security guy is gonna fight off Arnold Schwarzenegger for him. And the security guy looks at Arnold, looks at Killian, looks at the situation as Killian's control over the masses is utterly collapsing, and says, "I gotta go score some steroids," and just walks out after giving Arnold a nod, like, "Whatever you did to him, man, that's your problem." And again, Feral Historian comments on this. He says this is an excellent, if humorous depiction of what happens when the Praetorian Guard walks away from the Emperor. You
Hmm.
what happens when the organs of the state no longer adhere to the will of the state. Mm,
It's good stuff. It's good
good
stuff.
stuff. Good stuff.
So we have some bad comics news that is has drifted across the desk.
Okay.
You remember the ad campaign that the DC ran? Bendis is coming.
I did not see the ad campaign for Bender is
Well, that
coming, but
well
I
no
have
well no
heard that
well
Bender is
no
coming back to things.
well no that was a campaign like in the 2019
Yeah,
2018 ish when he came to DC and ruined a bunch of things.
yeah.
And Now, Bendis is coming home to Marvel, and in a
To
recent
fuck things up again.
in a recent interview, Mark Waid said he had one more Daredevil story in it, but he's perfectly
And
happy working at DC right now.
I saw your comments. You looked at it and said, "Please keep it to yourself. I don't want it."
So, Rune, what do you think about these creative possibilities of the future comics?
I think they stink of desperation and inadequacy.
And here's the thing I want to say about the Wade one. What is there you could really do that's interesting about Daredevil? He's had money, he's lost money, he's had powers, he's lost powers, he's had his sight restored, he's gotten blind again. He had a love story, but the woman turned into a drug addicted hooker, which I
Uh,
think was one of the better creative decisions they made.
this is we're right back to an earlier conversation when we were talking about Absolute Batman. The
Mhm,
decisions are not being made in what can we do and indeed should we do,
mhm.
right? It's just we can do this, right? People were very divisive about Mark Waid on Daredevil. We need something to make Daredevil good again. I know. Let's bring Daredevil back. What do you mean? We'll get Wade to do Daredevil again, and then people will either love it or hate it, and they'll talk about it a lot, and that will make us money. And it's like, yeah, and that kind of exploitation will work once, twice, and is diminishing returns. Well, yeah, but by the time it doesn't work anymore, I won't be here, so it's not my problem.
I mean, that is actually the mindset of Marvel management.
That is the mindset, and we've seen it, and we know what it is, and we're still stupid enough to keep buying it. I am going to tell you how we do a Daredevil story. I am going to tell you, in fact, how we do a street level, company wide, multi book story right now that will absolutely shake up some status quo and does not involve cosmic, gods, monsters, space, giant explosions, or multiverses.
Hmm?
Are you ready?
I'm ready.
The Sin Eater comes back.
Okay. Okay.
For people who don't know, back in the late 70s, mid 70s, early 80s, or maybe even 60s, there was a character in Spider-Man called the Sin Eater. And the Sin Eater was basically David Berkowitz for the Marvel Universe. He was a villain with a shotgun. Literally, that was his powers. He had a shotgun and a funny suit who went around killing people that he thought were sinners, right? Why was this important to a Spider-Man book when it's just street level crime? Because Eddie Brock, who was Peter Parker's competitor at the time,
Hmm.
had what he thought was a inside track on the Sin Eater and the Sin Eater's motivations, only to find out that it was a fake, right? And so Eddie Brock was defamed publicly to the wider media. It was the beginning of his descent that would eventually lead to him becoming Venom, because Spider-Man defeated the actual Sin Eater and turned him in, right? And I believe the Sin Eater died. Okay,
Hmm.
so we're gonna do a story. We're gonna do a Daredevil story. We're gonna take it back to the streets, back to Hell's Kitchen. Okay, well we've done that before, and we're gonna have a bad guy doing a bad thing in Daredevil's backyard. We've had that before. We've had other serial killers in the area. It's like, right, but we're gonna go as down to the ground as possible. It's like, well, does he have powers? No. Well, does he have like a weird gimmick? No. Well, how's he doing it? How's he getting away with it? It's like, because he's a regular person with a regular life who could be any of us doing terrible things. And all of Daredevil's powers, all of Daredevil's I fight ninjas helps him not at all. This
Hmm.
guy isn't a criminal. He doesn't, or is at least not a criminal in the criminal underworld. He doesn't have connections to anybody, right? The cops can't find him, and you just spiral it out. Spider-Man can't find him. Fucking Moon Knight can't find him. This dude is somewhere. He's out there. He's doing bad. Everybody is afraid. The city is paralyzed in terror. And you lean into that. The plot is the heroes trying to find the villain. And you could do a dozen books on that. You could do a dozen Daredevil stories on that. Daredevil trying to be a detective and a superhero and a attorney, right? Wrestling with the fact that I can spend my days in the office getting people the justice they need, but I can't save lives on the street because there's a madman out there with a gun shooting people in the face with buckshot. It ain't hard.
So my next question is, of course, the return of Bendis, and most likely they're going to have Bendis reboot Miles Morales again.
Again. Marvel's gets the bends again.
So what do you think about the return of Bendis?
Wait a minute, Larry. So here we are. It's Groundhog's Day. Again.
Yeah.
I mock, but that is actually also how I feel about it. I have already, like, many people have commented about how much we don't like Bendis speak, where everything is walls of text in a visual medium. But that's actually a lesser crime to me. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
I have not liked Bendis since he messed up my boy Moon Knight.
All right.
And people are like, well, what do you mean? How do you mess up Moon Knight? It's like,
Didn't
he
he do
did the
that
run.
Didn't he do that run with him in L.A. where Moon Knight thought he was
Right.
all the Avengers?
Right. So you had this really good run of Moon Knight that they said ends, but we're going to give the next run to Bendis. Cool. Bendis was basically like, the previous run didn't happen. I don't care. Okay, so what are we doing? We're moving Moon Knight to L.A. Okay. What's Moon Knight doing in LA? What's the story? It's got to be a story. It's like a big story, right? It's gonna be like a criminal thing. Like he left New York to fight a evil cartel or werewolves or something. It's like, okay, so like Moon Knight's gonna fight street level crime in LA. Okay, but like he's crazy, right? So he's got multiple personalities. Yeah, Jake Lockley and all these others is like, okay, his multiple personalities are Captain America, Spider-Man, and Wolverine. What? Yeah, these other characters that I would rather write about, they're going to be his multiple personalities. And he's just going to do crazy shit and kill people in LA. What? And then that run ended. And the next authors were like, this never happened. Fucking pull back. That run doesn't fucking exist. And they ignored it. They ignored it so hard. They did a 180 of a 180 because they were like, we cannot do this. This does not work. They've never referred to the idea that Mark has these personalities. They've never shown these personalities since. These personalities do not exist. That run literally did not happen, and they don't want you to remember that Bendis did it. But I do.
Mm-hmm.
I remember Bendis did it.
Mm-hmm. But I want to have a good palate cleanser here. Did you see that video I posted about Grant Morrison talking about Jack Kirby?
I mean, I love that he loves Jack Kirby. I also think Grant Morrison shouldn't be allowed to speak in public because he's clearly an idiot.
Well, what did you think about his idea that you should just leave ideas out there for other people to use later?
I think that's an excuse when your name is Grant Morrison and he should get kicked in the dick.
Well, no, I mean seriously, you're writing in the serialized format,
All right.
and that there's going to be other writers who are going to write it.
All right, let's talk about real writers, and then we'll talk about Grant Morrison. Okay. It is logically correct. A real writer for a real comic book where continuity matters should theoretically seed some potential in other works, right? I'm going to do a Jack Kirbying. I'm going to tell a story of powerful ancient aliens. I'm going to leave a seed there that, yes, once we visited Earth, and then never actually say anything about it again. Right? Let somebody else figure out what they were doing on Earth. Let somebody else tell the tale. Right? Perfectly legit. Right? Why I don't give Grant Morrison credit for doing that is because Grant Morrison has a stated history, right, of using that notion to deflect from criticism and critique of half-finished stories. Grant, why is your story weird and kind of incomplete? Because it's just ideas, man. It's just vibes. It's just things I threw out there. Right, but your story has to be complete. No, it doesn't. Okay, but like you do have to work with these materials a little bit. No, I don't. Okay, well, like how could we get you to work with them some more? Oh, well, you could have me do another run. You could pay me more money. Will you actually resolve any of the questions you started? Fuck no, but I'll tell you I'm going to. Right? Grant Morrison isn't making seeds for other creatives. Grant Morrison is trying to tell you that he doesn't give a shit about the story he's telling. He's only trying to meet a deadline.
I mean, I tend to think of it more as he's laying on a foundation for other people, albeit he's kind of high and sloppy at the time.
Here's the thing. If that was true, okay, if we're going to take that argument, it's laying the foundation, then the fact of the matter is that the guy that's currently doing Ultimate Spider-Man, we shouldn't need him to be doing Ultimate Spider-Man, and we shouldn't have to worry about his maker's story. Because he should be laying the foundation for someone else to take up the maker and tell us the tale of the maker. But the fact of the matter is, not only is the maker a dumb idea, but the only person who cares about it is that one dude telling that one story that he's kept trying to tell at Marvel for decades, and Marvel keeps fucking him on it because guess what? Nobody in the reading community wants to read it. It's not a seed. It's a dodge. It's a deflection. Comic writers are not immune to Chekhov's gun.
I mean, I'm just saying. I'm just trying to think, what would Church do in this situation? But now that we have had a little palate cleanser,
okay,
we're gonna have.
We should always ask ourselves, what would Church do?
Yeah, we should talk about.
I mean, right now he's a space cowboy, as you saw.
He is. We should talk though about Armageddon Assemble. They're bringing Bob back.
And
they're giving him his powers back.
So,
and his powers are currently with a bunch of cripples.
With a bunch of what?
Cripples.
Oh, wait a minute. Am I the Void? Do I possess the power of a million suns and I didn't know? What?
The cripples do not have a void.
Okay.
They just have the good powers.
Okay.
So, we're gonna get Bob back. Bob is gonna probably just have the straight up void. And that's going to be the central problem of the new event, would be my guess. What do you think?
I'm again, my mockery sounds like mockery because it is, but at the same time, it's also a serious question. And that's not an and like I want to know more. I'm not leaning in and being like, would you like to know more? I'm saying, who gives a fuck?
Well, Marvel does because it's their new event that they're going to be doing next year.
Right, and there'll be another event after that, and there'll be an event after that, and the effects of the events will never matter. And more importantly, who the fuck cares about Bob? Now, we talked about Bob recently because Bob showed up in the movie, right? And Bob is actually a likable character. But to the best of my knowledge, in recent memory, overall, has the Century ever had a standalone book of his own where they've actually gotten to get into, like, what is it like to be Bob? Or does the Century just keep showing up in other people's books and events and being told how important he is?
I mean, I have no idea how they're going to pull this off because it's stupid unless they're going to do a full soft reboot of everything,
I mean, it's about time.
which they're
That's not
not
an
going to do.
that's not an endorsement. That's just it's about time. They're running out of steam.
I mean, when was Hickman's Secret Wars?
I don't know because I didn't read the Hickman Secret Wars because it was trash. And every time I say that, Church comes out of the woodwork to kill me.
Let me just double check when that was. I do. It's 2015, so it's been 10 years since they last reset the Marvel Universe in a big
Right.
way. So yeah, you may be right. It may be time.
Here's the thing. I'm gonna make a comparison. So Star Trek has a problem, right? Which is that they developed into season-long arc storytelling, but when you're season dependent, right? If your
Hmm.
season's bad, the whole show suffers,
Hmm.
right? And this is reflected in modern streaming media where we do first 10 episode and now like 6 episode and now 4 episode runs where every episode needs to be 100% on point, otherwise the whole thing falls apart. But when you talk to people, what they would like is they don't mind arcs, but they like a return to episodic storytelling, right? Comics are the same way. Fuck graphic novels. I don't care. You can do collected works if you want. The fact of the matter is that I I'm tired of events. I don't mind events, right? But like events that quote change the entire dynamic only to return it to the status quo a week later don't mean shit to me, right? This is why I read smaller single character books and usually individual runs because I know the subsequent run isn't going to refer to the previous run much at all, right? What do I read? I read Moon Knight. I read Morbius. I read Midnight Suns. I read old Venom books, right? I'm just gonna straight up ask, who gives a fuck about the next big event? I don't care if you trot Bob out and say, "Look, everyone, the Century's in an event. He's the big event. He's gonna reset the Marvel universe." It's like, cool, thanks. Been here, seen this already. You already reset it once, but the story is gonna be so deep, guys. It's gonna be so meaningful. Sure it is. It's gonna be the deepest, most meaningful event since the last event. Got it. Right? Just like covers, just like how comics used to be meaningful because there were limited print runs and you could, collect them because they were rare. I hate to horrify people, but like events used to be meaningful because they didn't happen all the fucking time, right? Nobody cares about Call of Duty because another Call of Duty is going to come out next year. Unless you are a die-hard Call of Duty fan where you have to buy every fucking game. In that same sense, nobody gives a fuck about your current event. Whatever it is. Extra points if DC and Marvel mirror each other. Because that was the fun part of the what was it? The event where all the worlds were smashing into each other,
Yeah, yeah.
right? And then DC at the exact same time had a uh event that was the exact opposite where all the worlds were smashing out, or it was one way or the other, but it was basically the same thing. They were both collapse of the multiverse simultaneously. So it didn't matter what side of the fence you were buying from, you were buying the same fucking story with different characters.
Hmm.
None of this matters. I'm literally Carl from Aqua Teen Hunger Force. You show me the cover of uh, Armageddon Assemble,
Armageddon Assemble.
and my answer is none of this matters. None of this matters.
It's going to have a big bump for the first issue, then a sharp decline, precipitous drop.
Matter of point. You want to know how little this matters?
Hmm.
I'm a reader. About my house, I have multiple books. I, for whatever reason, I don't recall how it got there, near my restroom, I have a comic book, a graphic novel. It's Avengers Disassembled, I want to
Yes.
say. That's happened
Yes.
a lot. But it's about dead Avengers who are brought back during an event called Chaos War, because the Chaos King is doing a chaos, and these dead Avengers must work together to save the day. And you have Captain Marvel, you have the Vision, who hasn't blown himself up again yet. You have I want to say Janet Van Dyne, and you have another hero who bowed out. You've got Warbird, you've got Doctor Druid, who everyone thinks is a dick, right? It's got an all-star cast of people, but it's during this big event where a chaos is happening, right? There is nothing about this event in what little we know that doesn't sound like the same thing with the same consequence, which is that it's going to be a big story about a big sad, and a bunch of people are going to big die, and it's going to end up being a graphic novel on a shelf next to my bathroom that I read sometimes.
I mean, constipation does mad things to us all.
but you do get what I'm putting down.
I do.
I'm not saying they couldn't have a meaningful event. What I'm saying is that if your meaningful event is literally your ad for your meaningful event is a red page, or is it a white page? I forget. It's a white and red page with our distaff Superman walking on it into the distance, and the words Avengers or Armageddon Assembled, telling us nothing but drumming up our interest. You've already failed. And I mean, this is actually serious. Serious question. I need you. You might have to do some digging. Do you have that cover of that Conan book you were reading?
1 second. Let me find it. Getting it's a bit tricky.
Yeah, I'm doing my part as well. It's red, black, and white. Mm-hmm.
I found it. I
Okay,
found
good,
it too.
good. That's good. We're gonna do the deep analysts on visuals for the people.
Oop, that's the wrong button. Wrong button again. There we go. And move this down here. Oh, wow. Now we're going over here. Here is
Okay. All right. So we have. I'm assuming that's a Conan or
that
a
is
Cull.
actually Cull. It is
Right,
Cull with his
right.
Pictish brother.
Right. So we have a Cull and we have Brawl the Spear Slayer. posing dramatically in front of braziers on a throne on what we assume is the Topaz throne. We
Mhm.
have wore purple draped curtains, right? It is not by far the most actiony cover.
No.
Okay, so I want to be
It
clear. This is a pretty shitty cover.
Now
Is this
here's
the
another this is a different issue, but
okay? Right, but here's the thing. Here's the thing. I'm a comic reader. I'm looking for comics. I see Conan or Cole at peril with dozens of snake men, not just attacking him, but literally throwing themselves at him because they
Mhm.
think that only by literal numbers can we maybe get him. That's a pretty solid cover. That
Right.
one there as well, the one that you just passed with
The Tower of the
the
Elephant cover.
yeah, right, yeah. This she's gonna grab somebody, right?
Mhm.
Let us compare that to what I have put on my present screen.
1 second. Stop sharing. There we go.
Right.
You judge a book by its cover.
I mean, I hate to
That
say it, but yeah, you do.
and this cover doesn't really say anything interesting
Well, first
other
and
than,
foremost,
hey, you might have, a reboot of the Marvel Universe.
if we didn't know it was a Marvel book by virtue of all of the logos on it, right?
Mhm.
This looks like something I'd pull off of the rack at a bookstore,
Mhm.
right? Witness the origin of the end, a book by someone, right? And what do we got? We have a shadow, we have a picture of what we assume is the void, but we know it's Bob, right? And something I didn't notice the first time I saw this image, if you squint, do you know what that is in his hand?
I know what you're probably gonna say it is. You're
It
gonna
looks
probably
like
say
a
it's cos
it looks like a cosmic cube to me. Yeah.
but it's not. It's actually a device made by the maker no, actually, excuse me, by, Ultimate Tony Stark to restore superpowers for people who've been deprived of their superpowers.
That's not better.
It's in fact worse.
The reason my brain naturally, of course, went to Cosmic Cube is because for the last 10 years, anytime something has come up, it has either been a Cosmic Cube or Cubic, the living Cosmic Cube. Because Cosmic Cube is our stand in now for Infinity Stone, because we can't just use the Infinity Stones, somebody said somewhere. Um, Never mind all the other things that are just as powerful in the Marvel Universe. But the thing is that there is nothing evocative on this cover. All
No.
right. And I am not particularly grabbed by the idea that this time, for real, honest, the Marvel Universe will end. It's like, will it? Will it? Will these stories end? Matter of point, because it just occurred to me, this will do one good thing.
Okay.
The X-Men will not be crypto or narco terrorists anymore.
Hey, that is a good thing.
The Krakoa series will just fucking not exist.
Mhm, mhm.
We can get rid of Right Clops. We can get rid of all this shit. You could bring back Xavier. I'd be like, yay, the X-Men are the X-Men again. For fuck's sake.
Alright, alright.
But we
That's
know that ain't gonna
positive.
happen.
It should happen, though.
But we know it ain't.
So, I think we've done pretty good for ourselves. We did, an hour and 3/4.
Yet again, some of the most comic-centric conversation we've had on the show in a while.
We're gonna have to bully Church and Ayrton that we're
I
we're
mean,
being forced to talk about comics in their absence.
we're being forced to talk about. Didn't we? Wasn't this show made to talk about comics in the first place?
Yeah, yeah, but let's end with, talking about the horrible thing that Will Wheaton did. The thing
That
that Will Wheaton
motherfucker.
the thing that Will Wheaton should be punched
All
in the
right.
dick for.
Yes, I actually said I think if I had been there, I would have punched him in the face, and I was told that was an overreaction.
No, no, it was not. Because
Ah,
Will Wheaton is an absolute goddamn barbarian.
we could also, for our last 15 minutes, if we want to, we can talk about Emma Frost if we care to,
No, no,
or we
we're
could.
going to talk about this.
Okay, I'm scrolling. Unless you're bringing up the image.
No, I brought it up. I brought it up.
Okay, because
It's up.
I think people need to see this. All right. So for the people who don't know, let me explain.
This
The
is a
book.
first edition from
Yeah.
first edition D&D, which
Right.
makes it a valuable book.
Well, there's that, but I want to talk about why it's so valuable. This is actually an even deeper lore than that, Larry. So this is from a book called Deities and Demigods, which was literally a big book of gods for your D&D game. Okay? And TSR, rather than just make up fancy, fictional gods, actually used a bunch of gods from a bunch of historical uh, religions and religious groups. So, like, there are Native American deities, there are Mesoamerican deities, Chinese deities,
Mm,
the Norse gods, the Gaelic gods, the gods of um, Finland and their national epic. It's really great. We're looking at your Discord right now, by the way.
oop,
Whoop.
switched the wrong screen.
Um, they had a bunch of different gods, and they did have some fictional gods, but they made a mistake in the first print run. They used both the gods of and the characters of Elric of Melibene and the Eternal Champion by Michael Moorcock,
Which
and
were copywritten,
and the Lovecraftian deities of H.P. Lovecraft, which
which
were
I
also copywritten kind of at the time.
mm,
Uh, they didn't have the rights to print either of them. They had to do a reprint. Now, in that reprint, they did the gods of Nuhan, of Fritz Lieber's Farford and the Grey Mouser, right?
which they did have the rights to.
Which they did because Fritz Lieber loved D&D, which is amazing. But basically, this isn't just a old school first ed book. This is a rare first ed book because it's not commonly available on the market. Now, I don't know why Michael or Michaela, whatever their name is, Michael,
Like,
uh, presented this to Will Wheaton to get signed. I don't even think they probably did. They probably more like they were carrying it and Will Wheaton grabbed it and signed it, right? But
but
Will
Will
Wheaton
Wheaton
didn't.
didn't sign it in the first page,
Yeah,
which you could
right. Didn't
do.
sign the blank. Didn't sign the inner cover. He signed it in the middle of the book, literally on the stats for I want to say a
It's
Lovecraftian
Cthulhu.
monster. Yeah, and as people
Oh
have
no,
pointed
actually,
out,
the Taster. Excuse me, Taster.
and then as people have pointed out, signed it with his quippable from Geek and Sundry, which is a modern D&D phrase that has nothing to do with classic, right? Didn't just say to Michael with all my love and may the dice always be in your favor, Will Wheaton, but did it desecrating a book so that it is functionally less useful,
As a
adding his name
collector
to
item.
a one of a kind piece of thing. Like this has not improved its quality. This has destroyed it.
Yes, and
If Will Wheaton, if I was at a convention and Will Wheaton destroyed one of my books, I would do violence on this man. All right? I have more books than I have bookshelf space, and I will not give them up. I love my books, right? I
mhm.
take care of my books. I don't just mean my game books, I mean all my books. I have my parents' books, right? I live in
Mhm.
a library basically. I cannot imagine the kind of fucked mentality you have to look at somebody's game book and just go, fuck you, Will Wheaton.
And
Fuck
Wheaton
you wherever you are.
and Wheaton does understand the value of that book. Now, there was a another person who autographed one of these books, a person who's actually involved in making the book. And we're going to compare and contrast what that person did to what Will Wheaton did.
Cool.
1 second. Boop.
Is it Rob? Who is it?
It is Errol and
Ah.
Rob both signed it. And look where they signed it.
Wait,
On the title page.
Wait, they signed the same book and Wheaton signed it in the middle. That
No,
is a double insult.
No. That's a different
book. Okay. Whew. Thank God. But yeah, no,
but,
that's where you sign it.
and these signatures not only were done, they were dated signatures
Right.
to enhance the value.
Right. Because it means that particular autograph only happens the once.
And it has provenance.
Motherfucker.
And Neon from Clownfish said, "That's an unwritten rule. You never sign a book you didn't write." I will say that if you're a character that was in the book, maybe you can autograph it. Like if I had a Next Generation book and I wanted Will Wheaton's signature, he could sign it. That could work maybe. But no, not a first edition, rare, valuable book. No, only the people who contributed to it get to sign it.
I mean, that just begs more questions. Because in my brain, okay,
Mhm.
I can see way where you would perhaps sign a thing where you didn't work on it. But one, you signed it in the inside front, right?
Mhm.
You make it personal, to my friend, right? Or whatever. You date it so we can say where it happened, as you say, it's Provence, right? And quite frankly, it's like say why. And when I mean say why, it's like to my friend Jim, I love D&D, Will Wheaton, 25. It's like,
Mhm.
oh, awesome, right? Because now we know why he did it, right? You did
Yeah.
it because you love it, not because you were trying to glom onto somebody else's legacy with your fucking name, like your name gave it value it didn't have. Matter of point. Well, Will Wheaton is obviously a different human being. This has always been my problem with the Critical Role crowd.
Mhm.
When I talk about why I don't like Matt Mercer, it's because of things like this. You didn't invent it. You don't own it. It's not yours. Don't try to tell me the way my fucking game works, motherfucker.
Well,
That again, I'm being told on the internet that I don't know Warhammer and I've never read a book. So what do I know?
I am saying we're gonna pull the show. We're gonna hang up our hats for the evening, and hopefully next week we'll have a church or an errand. So,
That'd be nice.
good night, everybody.
Okay.
Doot doot.